Just watch the carbs that intake. Throw that processed food away. Yeah, yeah. Get low, get low, get low. Get low. On the carbs, on the carbs. Get high, get high, get high. Get high. Take the protein to the sky. Yeah, get low, 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 get low. On the carbs.
Hey guys. Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody doing? I'm grabbing my water right here. Woo! Hello, doses of Shawnee. First of all, let me say hi to everybody coming in. Kendi K all day. Hello, hello. Doses of Shawnee. Thank you so much for becoming a new channel member. Welcome to the Wellness Circle, and I mean that for real. Beautiful, I'm colored. Hello, beautiful. Okay, I got you. So glad to have you in the building. So hello to everyone coming in. I appreciate you so, so much. Thank you for being here. We definitely have a hot topic tonight. I am still sipping on my water. And yeah. First, let me say Happy New Year once again to everybody. And I'm just great. It's good to see y'all. Y'all may not be able to see. I have a non-scale victory. Thank you, Doses of Shani. I just want to let you know I got some good things coming for the channel members. First of all, I do put y'all into my I give y'all a shout out on my weight loss videos, on the injection, the weekly update videos, because I do have a substantial amount of views that come from that. And I have more viewers than subscribers who watch those videos, because that's what everybody is, that's what they want to know about now, the GLP-1 community. So that shout out is for y'all. If somebody's interested in your channel, then they may go and watch it. They may not subscribe, but they will go and watch. So some other things. I just appreciate everybody. Now, I also do that for the people who leave comments as well, because I feel like a comment is going the extra mile. Y'all know that. This is a non-scale victory. Y'all cannot see. I'm going to stand up and take a shot before I take this off. But this is a sweater dress that I had for a while. I've had this for years. And it was, tight, and then it was too tight. And so now it's loose, but y'all can't see. It literally says queen. It says queen, if y'all can see that. I can't show y'all. I'm going to show y'all later on when I take a picture of it. I was going to do it at work today. But how are y'all doing? I hope y'all are having a great week so far. We're supposed to have a snowstorm, an ice storm here. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, I wanted to talk from the thumbnail. I did want to talk about, is the low carb, is the GLP-1 community, are we on a diet? Because I had wrote down some things and I was like, well, no, because I want to get my thoughts right, and I want to say it with love, and I want to say it as clear as I know how. Raising 6 girls, you have a tendency to be a little brazen. And so I don't want to come off as sharp, but I do want to express how I feel in terms of the GLP-1 community and weight loss, dieting, word choices, all of that. And so that's what I'm trying to get to. And I'm also trying to speak to people who are contemplating getting on a GLP-1 injection or medication, because people are concerned, people are fearful, they don't know what to expect. So I also want to speak, like I said, speak to those people who might be, like I said, considering it. If y'all know Keto Granny, she was thinking about it back and forth, thinking about it, and then she decided to go ahead on and start her weight loss journey. She is currently putting it out, in her videos about how she is currently on the I think she's on Zepbound, and what changes that it's making for her. Mind you, she lost 100 pounds prior to the GLP-1. And then also, it's just not to the GLP-1 community. My girl say, Mom, if you say GLP-1 one more time. So it's not just to the GLP-1 community, but it's to the weight loss journey community. Because before I started on this medication, I was on a weight loss journey. And those of you who have been on a weight loss journey pre-medication absolutely know how difficult it is. Okay. And so if you don't get anything from this, I need for people to get that just because I'm on a medication, number one, I have not arrived. Number two, it's still a struggle to change lifelong habits. It is a consistent and persistent struggle. And at the point when you reach the point of, okay, I can settle in. I've conquered this part. When you reach that point, then I guess that's when the real maintenance comes in. It's the only parallel I have is Christianity. And so I'm going to try not to preach tonight, but I do, like I say, want to talk about this GLP-1 community and the words that we choose to use. So everybody is speaking to everybody. Beautiful I'm Color says she'll be listening. And, for people who might come in later on and watch the replay, I appreciate you so, so much. So without any further ado, let's just try to dive in. Everybody's been talking about food noise, food noise, food noise, food noise, food noise. It's just for me, it's more of a play on words. Every generation can think of things or come up with things that, might have already been around. Okay. I've never thought of myself personally as having food noise. I've thought of myself as, being a heavy snacker, mindless eating when I'm at the computer, just snacks. So I've thought of myself as that. I've also thought of myself as a person who rewards themselves with food, who comforts themselves with food. If I'm sad, I wanted to eat something. If I was happy, I wanted to celebrate with food. But as far as having an overwhelming desire to just eat all the time, I never considered myself to be that type of person. So if that's what food noise is, that's why I say, well, if that's what food noise is, then maybe I don't have it. But again, talking about this medication, some people can eat through the medication. I've considered myself to be one of those, as time goes on. And then some people say, okay, the medication cuts my appetite. So let me give you an example, because y'all already know I'm going to be all over the place, okay? Because of my thought process. So I have been seriously thinking about titrating up to 15. And I wanted to titrate up because I felt like I had been snacking a lot. And, I needed a boost. I needed something to help me get my snacks, my cravings back in order. I mean, people to me, people make a big deal about titration, but that's what the medication was for. That's what it was all about. You start on a low dose and then you titrate up. The good thing about us in the United States is we can say yes or no. Yes, I want to titrate up. No, I don't. Maybe people in other countries don't have those choices or options. And initially, when people were starting, it was a titration seemingly every month, unless your body couldn't handle the medication, as was me when I first started 2.5. I couldn't handle it initially, based alone on the constipation. So I was not ready to titrate up. And hey, Tommy's Girl Fit Life, so glad to have you in the building. And so, I believe it was Felicia who said, look, you don't get a reward for titrating up or not titrating up. That's what the medication is for. That's what you use it for, period. Okay, to go up and help you with the appetite suppressant. At least that's what I thought. Now I stand to be corrected. Remember, I'm on Mounjaro. I'm sorry. I'm on Mounjaro, so I know my voice it goes all over the place. Again, that's what happens as a teacher, and that's also what happens when you raise girls. But I'm on Mounjaro, which is primarily for type 2 diabetes, and weight loss. I mean, that's how this whole thing started. It started with medicine for diabetes having a side effect of weight loss. And so now, it's all out in the open. So the primary goal was to control my type 2 diabetes from the doctor's point of view, and I had only hit 6.5. I had been doing that pre-diabetic thing for a while. And so I said to her, I'm going to let you say I'm officially diabetic so I can get this medication so that I can get some of this weight off, knowing that the side effect was weight loss. And even now, like, I took my injection on Sunday and I did something different. Normally I take it in my right and left thigh alternating, but this time I took it in my stomach. And the suppression is greater than it has been. And I've been on 10.0 12.5 for probably about 2 or 3 boxes at least. But my suppression is much heavier. And so I'm really having to try and make myself eat. Today alone, I've eaten an apple. I've eaten 2 chocolate chip cookies, and I munched on some chips. I have not eaten any food. And I know what y'all going to say. That's not good. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, because it is a journey. It's a journey, and we have to become, we have to be reacquainted with what to eat and what not to eat. And let's face it, if a food addiction is involved, a sweet addiction, a craving addiction, then when you don't have good choices, you're going to go to what you know. So let's look at what I'm trying to say. I hope that it comes across. I don't want to, in this weight loss journey that I'm on, I don't want to use words like, oh, I cheated today, or I fell off the wagon, or I messed up. And I have used those words. I myself have used those words. Oh, I had a setback. I don't want to use those types of words. I want to be free to be able to eat what I want to eat in moderation. Okay? Or at best, minimally. And I have to look at myself and notice that progress within myself. So, for example, previously, before I was even doing low carbs, I would just eat. I wouldn't, whatever I wanted, I would eat. Then when I started doing low carbs, I became mindful of how many carbs, one meal could entail, how many carbs a donut could entail, okay? Or all of that, how much sugar. Then when I come to the GLP-1 community, now I'm mindful of the amount of protein I should be taking in, the amount of fiber I should be taking in, along with the number of carbs that I want to take in. But all of this is an awareness. Okay, that's what it is. It's an awareness. It's a mindset change. It's a growth mindset, and it's not a punishment. It's not an accusation. It's not a, oh, you messed up today. You're supposed to have, you're supposed to have 100 gallons or 100 ounces of water, and you didn't do that today. No, because it's a progression, and I had to really go back and look and reflect, because it may take some people longer than others. It has taken me longer because in 2022, and this is top of 2026, at the top of 2022, I was 394 pounds. At the bottom of 2021, I was 394 pounds. Okay, so with Ozempic, with 75 soft challenge, with GLP-1, with struggling to, not eat carbs, with spending 5 months being a pescatarian, all of these things, trying to do all of these things to, get my weight down, eat healthier, be more mindful of what I eat, look at labels to see how many ingredients so I can, stop eating processed food. All of that is a process. And here we are almost 4 years later, and I'm down 80 plus pounds. I have to keep telling myself that. And I have to, that's what reflection is all about. Because sometimes when you eat something that you shouldn't eat, and like I said, I'm going to stop saying things like messing up, falling off the wagon, whatever you want to call it. When you eat something that you shouldn't eat, or whatever the case may be, or eat something, just regularly, I have to look back and say, okay, yeah, you did that, but it's okay, because it's the journey. Look how far you have come. Look how far you've come. And I'm excited and I'm happy about that. Okay, let me jump in here real quick. Tommy's Girl, Fit for Life. So glad to have you. You one of the OGs of YouTube. What's your maximum or minimum carbs per day? So I started out with keto. I was calling myself Keto Queen because, again, I was doing keto. And for me, if you do keto, you can and will lose weight. Keto is a maximum of 20 carbs a day. I could not maintain that. And so I try to keep between 100, maximum 150 carbs per day. Now that I'm seeing a dietitian, I have a little bit more leeway when it comes to carbs. But again, we have to know ourselves. So with my personality type, I have to say, okay, you're going to do a maximum of 100 carbs a day. My dietitian says you should do 30 to 35 grams of protein, about 30 carbs with each meal. Okay, so that'll keep you right at 100 grams of protein, right at 100 carbs per day. Okay, and I guess that includes the snack as well. So I have to try to tell myself, try not to go over 100 carbs per day. But if you do, you've got 50 extra carbs to play with. Now, I use my Fitness Pal. And so my Fitness Pal will, give you a certain amount of carbs as well. And so it depends on, sometimes it fluctuates. It depends on what what you're eating, because it's always calculating. Also, I don't do, unless I'm desperate. And this is the part that I don't like, because I don't do my net carbs, because if I'm going over the carbs, then I want to count my net carbs. And net carbs, you subtract the fiber. If you're, if you're eating anything with allulose or the sugar alcohol, you can subtract that. I mean, that's just a play on my mind. Okay, that's just to make me feel better about the fact that, okay, you went over on your carbs, but technically you didn't, because if you subtract the fiber, then it's net carbs. But if I'm trying to grow on this journey and really trying to learn how to eat better, it really doesn't matter. Those extra carb deductions really shouldn't matter. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. Purple Bellflower, how are you? So glad to have you in the building. Yeah, listening to my dietitian, my physician assistant. I have a physician assistant specifically for the weight loss journey for the Manjaro, just trying to do better. And again, trying to do better through having compassion on myself. Somebody else once said in one of the chats, give yourself grace, trying to do better in those types of situations. I mean, one of the things that's so good about this community, when I was looking for support, weight loss support on YouTube, one of the good things was those in the GLP-1 community are very supportive and very informative. One of the things that I did not see with the weight loss journey, and I've only seen a couple of people. I know Twan is one of them who tracked her journey from beginning to end. A lot of people in the YouTube community who are on a weight loss journey, they just say, this is what I've done to lose a certain amount of pounds. And if you want to do this, if you want to lose what I lost, this is what you should do. I'm a visual learner. I need to see. I need to see, which is why I track my journey the way I do. I don't track my journey to be, because I've gotten different comments. I don't track my journey to be ridiculed. I don't track my journey to be criticized. And you have to understand, people give you permission to correct them. They really do. And I mean, as a preacher, I've learned this. People, even as a teacher, you get permission to help people, whether it's constructive criticism or otherwise. So like, there's a lady on YouTube named Blue True. She comments, she definitely has permission to say, Kim, stop eating them snacks. Don't buy those Tootsie Rolls. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know her. I never met her. She's in California. She's older than me. She's on a weight loss journey. She puts in 10,000 steps a day. I mean, her comments alone have caused us to build a relationship where, I'm ready and willing to hear what she has to say, if that makes any sense. Good. Hey, hello, Auntie Mama. Twan is in the building. Hey, Twan, so glad to have you in the building. Hey, Auntie Mama, so glad to have you in the building. Michelle's Mirror, hey, how are you? So glad to have you in the building. I'm trying to talk through this issue of just doing better, being better every day, without feeling without feeling ridiculed. Because if you can find that at home, like, oh, don't eat that, especially if you want to diet. Oh, you shouldn't be eating that. Oh, don't, no. you know you can get all of that at home. Yesterday I went to the Spanish store. I was starving. I was out and about, and after I got off work, and I was starving, and I was like, if I don't get me something to eat, then I'm going to snack. Again, knowing my personality. So I went to the Hispanic store and I got some plantains, I got a platter, plantain, Spanish rice, and some of their wingettes. But I also bought a piece of their pork rind. They make that old school pork rind with some of the meat still on it. But pork is no longer one of my favorites. It used to be, but I can't eat pork like I used to. That's one thing for me also. When you stop doing something and then you try to go back, your body rejects it. And that's an experience. Some people don't have to learn by experience. Some people, you can tell them something and they'll do it. Other people still have to learn by experience. So I don't eat a lot of pork. I used to. I never thought I could even give up bacon. So I bought that and I took a pinch of it because I was hungry. You know, and then I ate 2 wings, 2 plantains, and 2 scoops of rice. That's what I did in my car. And then I was done with it. I got home, you know, told the girls I had had a little platter, whatever. You know, I came home from work today. I was like, you know, maybe I'll get another little piece of the pork. You know, is any of my platter left? My platter was gone. Okay, it was gone. They were like, Mom, you know, you shouldn't have the pork, yada, yada, yada. So we helped you out. So, and it was in a fun way, you know, it's in a fun way. But I'm saying that to say that, you know, you can be, if you're on a weight loss journey at home, whether you're on a GLP-1 or not. I've heard Losing the Grace talk about that, where, you know, people make comments. You don't want that. You don't need that. I definitely don't want it and don't need it. You know, I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. Okay. The professional Kim in me says, you know, it's taken me a while, but I'm down about 83 pounds. I'm at 308. Like I say, my highest was 394. So, you know, 85 pounds, somewhere along in there. Okay. But the Kim in me says, look, I'm down 80 something freaking pounds, y'all. I think that's good. GLP-1 good, weight loss journey good, 75 soft challenge good, keto good, low carb good. It's a process. It's a process. And just like I went out in my last video, I took my daughter to a party and they had to a dinner party. They had peach cobbler. I had no guilt, no second thought, because it was homemade peach cobbler. And that's how I want to function. I want to be able to function with that freedom to say, okay, well, you know, you could eat this peach cobbler. That's fine. But, you know, maybe tomorrow you might not want to get a snack. You might not want to, you know, those are the things that for me, I have to tell myself to balance everything out. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I don't want to feel like I'm on a diet in the GLP-1 community. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you so, so much. Everybody is saying, huh? Yes, Tommy Girl Fit. Yes, I love Blue True. I love me some Blue True, okay? You know, so hey, the boss way, hi, how are you? So many people have lost weight with the medication. And I stand by this. I'm all for the medication. I thought I was going to get on it for a year and get off. We know that that's not going to happen. We know it didn't happen because I'm at my year mark right now. Some people are like, as long as the medication is available, I'm going to stay on it. Well, as long as the medication is available and you're going to stay on it, what does that say? What does that say? That says you will always need help to maintain or to be at a low weight. To not, whether you come out of obesity, whether you just plus size, no matter how much you've lost, if you've lost it through the GLP-1 and you're going to continue to use the medication, then it's simply saying, I need this medication. Period and point blank, because it's something that I cannot do on my own. So therefore, we have to be mindful of that when we talk to one another, when we talk about it in the community. When, you know, we have to be mindful of it. We could say, oh yeah, eat protein. Don't do the carbs. Make sure you do this. Make sure. But the fact remains that if you or anybody stops taking the medication, it is a high possibility that your eating habits have not been disciplined enough, so they will return. Period and point blank. And I'm not preaching. I said I have 5 daughters, so I give it to you straight. I'm trying to be as gentle as I can be. Now, there are 2 people that I've seen that have permission to tell me something when I get into maintenance. Okay? They have permission to talk to me now. I always say Miss Toy the Review is my mentor. Miss Toy the Review I listened clearly, and she could correct me if I'm wrong. 5 months into her journey, the medication became scarce. So she taught herself how to skip an injection and still lose weight. She's lost over 100 pounds on this medication, not taking it every week. That's somebody I can hear from. I'm not against people on the medication because I'm on the medication. But I want to know how you did that. And you know who else? She's I was listening to her the other day. I'm gonna tell you who else. Real Journal Talk with V. I really want to pick her brain. I want to do a live with her. I want to interview her because she is taking her medication every 28 days. Come on, y'all. Every 28 days. That means for me, in my finite mind, my humble opinion, that she has been able to discipline herself enough that she can not take the medication. Period and point blank. Now, listen, some people are like, look, as long as it's around, I'm going to take it. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet, okay? Because I have to reach my goal, which is to be well into the twos, the mid twos. So I got to get to my goal. I got to be able to use maintenance. I got to be able to do all of that before I even talk about whether or not I'm going to stay on it or not. I know people compare it to things like high blood pressure medication. You know, people compare like some medications you're going to have to be on for the rest of your life, yada, yada, yada. That's your walk. That's your personal journey. Like I said, I don't know, because what I thought was going to happen to me hasn't happened. Let me jump in here. Kim J, hey, how are you? So glad to have you in the building. And let me go back up here. I done missed a lot. Oh, the Boss Way says, I eat what I want, just in moderation. All right, people are speaking. Yes, 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 yes. Kim J says, hi, so glad to have you in the building. Okay, Auntie Mama says, thanks for coming over to Rico's. Shelly Fonte says, straight no chaser. That's my daughter. Delsa Shadi said, I'm in and out of the chat, but still here and loving this conversation. Hi, everyone who came in. You know, it's just it is what it is. Let's see. Bellflower says, straight no chaser, but at the end of the day, people got to do what they're going to do. You are so right. You are, and that's the bottom line. And I know many people, whether in this community or whether family or whatever, many people speak out of love. Like Kim J, and I'm not just saying this because you're here. I know you speak out of love. I know you speak out of care. You understand what I'm saying? I know whatever you say to the community in general, it's out of love and care and concern, you know, to try to help us on this journey do what needs to be done. But at the same time, if Kim J want to go out and have a good time and enjoy herself, you're going to do that. You can type right or wrong in the chat, you know, and that's what I want people. That's for me what this conversation is about. I want people to be free enough to understand who they are with this medication. Okay, until a transformation changes. And that's what I was saying about real journal talk with V. She was like, I got a notification on my phone. It's the 28th day. I had to back it up. The 28th day. So she's taking her medication every 28 days. Now, I don't know how much weight she's lost. That's why I said I would love an interview with her, because I don't know how much weight she's lost. I don't know how long she's been on the GLP-1 journey. But she has learned to have enough discipline, self-control, know what to eat, what not to eat, to be able to not take the medication regularly. That may not happen for all of us. That may not happen for me. But I'm going to try to get there. Same thing like I said with Miss Toy. 5 months in, and she's, she doesn't take it every week, but she's been able to lose weight, keep it off, and change her appetite and desire for certain types of food. And it's a habit, and however long it takes for that habit to break. Some people, psychologists and all say it could take 21 days. Whatever the experts say it takes, the habit can be broken, but we all know, sometimes you can fall off the wagon. But I don't want to call it fall off the wagon if I eat a piece of cake or a piece of pie. Like I said on my cruise at Christmas time, I ate what I wanted to eat. And I didn't take my injection. So for that moment, to be transparent, I thought I had arrived because I didn't take my injection. I ate what I wanted to eat in moderation. I was mindful of it. And I lost 2 pounds on the cruise. Oh, I'm here. I'm good. But then the very next week, I gained 7 with the injection, eating junk. So it's a balance. It's a balance. And it's kind of like sin in the church. Everybody know what they're doing wrong. You know, everybody know what they're doing wrong. They just want to know how can I get better? What's the best and easiest way for me to get better? I don't need you to keep harping on what I'm doing wrong. I need you to help me get it right. Kim K, so glad to have you in the building. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, love me some Miss Toy. Yes, and some Miss V. So again, just kind of like choosing good words. Let's see. Bellflower says Oprah said she was going to prove the doctors wrong. Went off for the year, gained 20 pounds back, got back on it. As individuals and the level of their disease of obesity will surely dictate that. That's so good. That's good. That's really good. You know, I don't know how I feel about being on this for the rest of my life. I really don't. Of course I don't want to be on any medication if it's possible, you know, but we'll see. Because there are people and we just, listen, there are people who are not on GLP-1 who have the habit of eating for nutritional purposes. My life has been a habit of eating for pleasure. There's not been a emphasis on eating for nutrition. I mean, yeah, you get a vegetable, a meat, and a starch. That's what I was taught. You have a vegetable, meat, and a starch. But guess what? You know, it's kind of like the drug addicts back in the day. Where they used to say, "Oh, that stuff over there, man, that'll kill you, man. That stuff, that's some heavy stuff over there. Whatever drug it was, okay." And people be like, "What? Yeah, I'm going to get." Well, that's how it is in the food community, man. You need to go down to Smoky Joe's. They ribs are good. They ribs are the bomb. That's how my life has been, okay. And so all of that has to be now. It has to come differently. And the question is, do you give up all the stuff that you like? Do you eat in moderation? What do you let go? What do you eat in moderation? And are you going to feel guilty every time you eat something? Like, what, that's not cool. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. Bellflower said, and that's on period. Yes, those are Shiny said, love me some Kim J. Yes. Kim J says, yes, ma'am, Auntie Queen, no doubt, no diggity. I will eat what I want while living my sweet, healthy life. Absolutely. And I love that about you. I absolutely do. I love that. That's why I say when you talk about things in the community, it definitely comes from a place of love. Absolutely. And not to say that nobody else's does, but I'm just saying, and this is not a critique of people. This is just, what I enjoy about this community. Period and point blank. What I enjoy about it And then, sometimes, like I think you and Felicia Kim were making a comparison between like Wegovy and Zepbound, and saying, how some of the people in the general, not necessarily our little circle, but in the general community feel like, oh, well, Wegovy is this and Wegovy is that. I can't remember what type of comparison, but it was making like the Wegovy people feel left out. Excuse me. Well, what's going to happen when people start taking the pill? Because the pill is out. The pill is out here. Yes, Purple Buffer. Yes, I love that Real Journal Talk has been able to maintain. Yes, yes, indeed. Felicia says, please interview her. I want to know how she handles doing her shot. Yeah, me too. Me too. I want to know that too. Because listen, this is me. I'm a realist. With all the protein, with all the fiber, with all of this, that, and the third, am I still going to be able to maintain if I don't take the shot? And if I'm not, what is that about? Is it scientific? Is it health habits? What is it? Is it that I'm not exercising? Whatever I'm doing with the shot, if it's so good and so healthy, then I should be able to do it without the shot. Just let that marinate. Whatever I'm doing with the shot, and it's all that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not being driven by um, you know, insulin resistance, or whatever the case may be, I'm not being driven by that, then it should work without the shot, theoretically. Theoretically. But I like what I think Purple Bellflower said. Look, when she said about what Oprah, listen, if it's a disease, then it's a disease and you're going to need that medication for the rest of your life. Some might need more doses and some might need less doses. Same thing with high blood pressure. What's your dose? What's your dose? My dose is not as concentrated as the next person. I'm on a low dose of high blood pressure. Would love to get off, but guess what? It's not an easy medication to get off of. All right, let me see what y'all saying. Everybody's still speaking. Speaking. Okay. All right, so let me jump back over here. When we use words like cheating, it implies punishment, it implies rules, it implies failure, it implies moral failure. Health is not a test. Okay, food is not sin. Bodies are not disobedient. Okay, think about this. Can you cheat on your own body? Can you do that? Like, oh man, I cheated. You know, I, I just don't want that. I don't want that feeling. I don't want that thought process. And we want to use, like diet language versus lifestyle language. Okay, cheating, falling off. Like I said, bad foods. I ate something bad. Starting over. Your body will tell you, no doubt, no question. The more you eat clean, the more you eat healthy, your body will tell you. I hadn't been eating lunch meat. I was trying desperately to build my protein up. So I bought some turkey lunch meat. I was like, let me just do that. And I bought a good brand. Let me just do the turkey. I can eat some turkey and cheese, make a turkey cheese sandwich on the solar bread. Man, I ate that turkey. My head was killing me. And then I had to immediately go back. What did I do differently? What's happening? What's happening that my head is hurting so bad? Those nitrates, all that stuff in that turkey. No, my body was like, you haven't had this for a minute. No. And when people talk about inflammation, it's a lot of times it's attached to something that they've eaten. It may not have been a bad thing per se when we talk about protein. It might have been protein, but it might have been protein with a lot of sodium. And so our bodies will immediately tell us. I bought some protein bars this week. If y'all saw my haul, 20 grams of protein. I am desperately trying to get my protein up. I had one for breakfast this morning. I literally could not finish it. I could not eat the whole thing because of the taste. And I love the Barbell protein bars because of the taste and because my injection that in my stomach has hit me differently this time. And it's actually making me question whether I do want to titrate up. I probably know right now, since I haven't been to see my physician assistant. I think the last time I saw her was in November before Thanksgiving. So she probably is not even going to want me to titrate up to 15 until I come in and see her. So my next box will probably still be 10. But it really did make me question because I was like, man, I injected in my stomach and I have no appetite, none whatsoever. When I get off of here tonight, I'm gonna have to make me something to eat because I haven't eaten all day. And I heard what you said, Kim J, talking about those late night chats are pretty good. And I'm a night owl. She was talking about how, be mindful when you have cravings, be mindful of what you've eaten. If you haven't eaten any protein, you haven't eaten any food, then yeah, your cravings will be up. Will definitely be up. So I definitely have to be mindful of that. Definitely. Kim K says, I eat anything I want, but Zepbound helps me do it in moderation. Yes. And that's what I'm talking about. Kim Shay said. So choose more healthy now, but I'm definitely indulging some too. Yeah, it's all about, that's what the journey is all about. It's all about balance, And I mean, if you are whatever, if you have food noise, if you have cravings, whatever it is, between then and now, you clearly have some perspective on the difference of eating 2 pieces of sweet potato pie at Thanksgiving versus one, versus cutting a piece of cake, a whole big 3-layer piece of cake in half, which is what I did at Thanksgiving, rather than to eat the whole thing. First of all, you can't eat the whole thing because of the medication. But second of all, just to know that I used to eat this whole big piece of cake, but now I can literally cut it in half and save half for now, the other half for tomorrow, or whatever the case may be. It's still going to be the same calories and the same carbs, but it's going to hit differently because I'm aware of how many calories it is, how big a piece it is, how much it is. And I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that. Yes, the boss way says psychological. Kim K says, on another channel, an obesity doctor says she tells her patients there is no wagon. This is a life and there should be no shame because you eat a cookie. Oh, wow. I love that. I love that. There is no wagon. All right, let's see. Kim said, oh, purple bellflower. My changes was a life or death decision. I think for many, how heavy is your why? That may be enough for some and may not be enough for others. Yeah. Either way, people have to find their own balance. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear people say that all the time. What is your why? What is your why? You know. Mathis, so glad to have you in the building. I have a question. Have you been able to lose over 80 pounds without the shot? Well, again, I lost half of that weight. When I started on the shot, I was at 350. If you look back at my videos of January 2025, I was at 350. Prior to that, I was a little bit lower than that, but I started being triggered. So I was like, I need some help. So on the medication, I have been down from 350 to 308, which is where I am now. So that's 42 pounds down. And then 44 pounds without, 42 pounds exactly without the medication. Okay. Now let me correct that because I was on Ozempic and I lost about 40, let's say 44, 46 pounds. But when I got off of Ozempic, I gained half of that back. And I fought to keep the other half back, to keep the other half off. So 40, 50, 60, let's just round it up. 60 of those pounds have been on some type of medication, Ozempic and Mounjaro. And the other 20 has been me struggling to try to do it on my own. So it's no doubt that it helps. I mean, people look at the medication as a crutch. I mean, people, we know people get criticized all the time about the medication. But ironically, again, people don't get criticized about high blood pressure medication. They don't get criticized about cancer treatments. They don't get criticized about a whole lot of other stuff. Okay. Your body, if you eat a lot, your body becomes used to that with no reference, for some reason, with no reference to the amount of weight gain. It's amazing. Your body becomes used to the amount of calories you intake, the amount of sweets you take in, the amount of salt, you take in, that sweet and salty. But for some reason, the only reference, your bones have reference to it, your heart has reference to it, your lungs has reference to it, but the body itself, the part of the mind that's taking that food in, it seems to have no reference. And so the more you give it, the more it wants. And so you reach a point where when you decide to change that up, the body begins to fight. I mean, it's all spiritual. If I come from a spiritual reference, the scripture says when the house has been swept clean, and I won't go get the scripture, I'm paraphrasing, but it says once it's clean, then the enemy will try to come back and get in. And if he can't get in, then he'll bring 7 more that are more powerful than him to try to get back in. Okay? So, whatever's in the spiritual is clearly in the natural. So again, that's why when people, like you said, when Oprah got off, and she was not able, she gained 20 pounds back, she got back on. So clearly, like I say, what's happening in the spiritual happens in the natural. So, if we try to, those of us who are on it and have tried to do it without it and end up gaining weight, we need the medication, period and point blank. But there are some who have been able to hit maintenance and go beyond, just like with anything else, just like with high blood pressure medication. Some people's high blood pressure medication has been able to be reduced and get off of it altogether. Some people who may have been on, some form of diabetes medication, whether it was insulin or whatever, they might have been able to get that to be less or get off of it. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? But again, we look at it as, oh, you need the medication, because you won't stop eating, but it's not the mind of eating. It's the body wanting that food. It's almost like a muscle memory type thing. I talked about it before. If I missed anybody, um, I'm saying hi to you. I hope I didn't miss you. Hormonal imbalances, yes, for most, but everyone is different in all kinds of variables. Yes, especially with women, especially with women. Okay, during the hormonal changes during the PMS. Listen, that whole going through menopause, that's a real thing, and you have to watch your hormones. You have to watch all of that. I had to get on a hormone pill, and I've been on it for a long time. You know, I'm sorry, it wasn't for hormone. It was for thyroid. I had to get on a thyroid because I had an underactive thyroid. But going through that menopausal stage, that's why a lot of women opt for the hysterectomy and just get it over with. You know, because when things are happening to your body, you're trying to figure out what's going on, and whether while you still trying to figure it out, it's still happening. And it just depends on how many doctors you have to go to get the correct answer. And it's a real thing, a real thing. I went through so much when I went through menopause. I went through a lot. My body was so confused. When I say confused, my cycles was coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. I lost so much blood that I almost had to have a blood transfusion. I mean, I was down to like about 6 or 7. My doctor was like, we're gonna have to give you a blood transfusion because it was just out of control. My body was confused, didn't know. Instead of every 28 days and every 21 days, it was every 10 days, every 14 days. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But thank God I finally got the right doctor who was a somewhat of a hippie. But he was like, okay, because I was ready. I was ready for the hysterectomy. I was like, I can't even go up a flight of steps. I'm out of breath, So he was like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to, and excuse me for the graphics, close your eyes and ears. He said, we're going to take a curling iron and we're going to burn the outsides of that area. And if that works and stops you from bleeding, you're good. If it doesn't work, we're going to give you a hysterectomy. And so it worked. I was good to go. Let's see. Felicia says, Felicia, I think also people have different levels of obesity. Maybe V just has a different level, yes, of obesity than me or someone else, like how some diabetics are more insulin resistant. Yes, yes, that's exactly right. I totally agree. I mean, I know people who are thin who can eat whatever the heck they want. Okay, they can eat whatever they want and they do not readily. I mean, y'all have to know somebody who, if you've, had family members or friends that, been around for years and for the whole 20 years, they've gained maybe 20 pounds, if that, and it's not like they're on some special regimen. No, metabolism is different, activity is different. There are a whole lot of different things, and we have to recognize and respect within this community that there are all types of people in this community who have exactly what Felicia is saying, different levels of obesity, What happened? You okay? Oh. Oh my God, somebody, adults yelling in the house. Adults yelling in the house. So people have, like you said, different levels of obesity. Some people are getting on this and they're not even quote unquote obese. They're trying to lose 30 pounds. Let's see. Yes, Doses of Shani is agreeing. She is Tamika. How are you? So glad to have you in the building. Felicia, let's see. Purple Bellflower says, Felicia, I am definitely learning that in my own friend group. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why people were saying, I know Kim J was saying, look, don't compare. Don't compare. Because again, there are a lot of different dynamics on why some people lose more than others. What's going on with the weight. We just can't attribute it all to you're not eating right. That's not fair. Whether the person is or isn't, it's still not fair. Because, I was watching one young lady, and I don't even remember her name, but she was on the GLP. She said she did not exercise 1 ounce, and her before and after was remarkable. That doesn't mean that that's a rule for everybody, and it doesn't mean to say, oh, okay, well, since she didn't exercise, I don't have to exercise. you know so it just depends. And we shouldn't feel like, oh, well, you did this and I did that. Like, we just have to respect the fact that people are different. We have to respect that. We have to respect that. I mean, like I said, we can't have these classic, these across the board rules, regulations, compliances. You know, we're adults. Some of my students would be like, I'm going to be, the next Jordan and da 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 da. And I'm like, well, what's your plan B? When people, some people are like, well, you don't want to kill their dreams. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be Beyonce. That's my dream. I'm going to be Beyonce. I'm going to have her body and her money. But okay, if I say that, somebody laughs. Like it's a joke, okay? Or if somebody else says something, it's like, oh, you killing their dream. Come on now, we are adults here. And so everybody's body is going to be different from height to size, all of that is going to be different. People are speaking to Tamika, everybody's speaking. Kim J says, my prayer and hope is always that what I say resonates with the people under my voice, and that it reaches others outside. Yes. The SLS, who it can help. What's SLS? I'm like you now. What's SLS? Everybody is speaking. Mathis says, it's been a lifesaver for me. I will take it for life. I spent many years doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Yeah. I know now that I need it forever. No more fighting without it. Oh, man. That's powerful. That is powerful. You sound like Felicia Marie. She like, look, long as it's around, I'm taking it. No shame in my game. Okay? And that's fine. That's fine. But let me ask you a question. Have you changed your choice of foods? I don't want to say diet. Have you changed your choice of foods in any way, Mathis, since you've been on it? And if you have, what has changed? Because, a lot of people, I get the vibe, okay, well, I'm on the shot now. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. And you do, and you should. But why did the shot make you do that? Why did the shot make you say, I got to do this, I got to do that? Because all the shot is doing is making you feel fuller and suppressing some of your appetite. We talk about the appetite suppression, but that's part of what the shot does, whether you call it food noise or not. Okay, the shot makes you feel fuller. So if you eat all those carbs, you're going to be fully constipated. I know firsthand. So you got to change that up, The shot suppresses your appetite. So first of all, you can't eat the portions that you were eating. And you don't have that same, glow about food. That was one of the things that I noticed when I went on a cruise. Because like I said, cruise is food, food, food. I didn't have that excitement for food that I would normally have. Didn't have it. So, what's happening? What's being done different? Yes, Purple Bellflower says, that's an awakening many are experiencing. Yes, I'm going to put that back up here. It's been a lifesaver for me. I will take it for life. I spent many years doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I know now that I need it forever. No more fighting without it. Yeah, that's almost poetic. L. Lewis is in the building. So glad to have you. Yeah, she said, I'll catch the replay. It's our mystery date night. Oh, y'all have a great live and enjoy your evening. Oh, that is so sweet. Mystery date night. Felicia said, I feel the same way. Yes. Mathis says, I have started binge watching your videos lately. I see the struggle, very relatable. I think I found the answer finally. Thank you, Lord. Oh, but see, you know what? That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted in this channel. I wanted people to see the struggle. Because if it wasn't a struggle, we wouldn't be having this conversation. There would be no medication. Okay? Thank God for the people who came up with it. You know, they took it to the next level when they saw that it was a side effect. Okay, they took it to the next level. And doctors can do anything. They can manipulate medications. So again, the side effect of Ozempic was weight loss. So they put the Ozempic to the side and added another component. But that's what I needed when I watched YouTube. I needed to see the ups and downs and the in and outs. You just can't tell me I lost 50 pounds and I did it by eating this amount of protein, this amount of fiber, this amount of exercise, because you're lying. I'm sorry. If you were obese, then you had a journey and a struggle. That's how I feel in the privacy of my own home. I'm not calling anybody on here a liar or anything like that. No. Because like I said, the only person that I've seen aside from, the immediate community right now is when I saw people, I didn't see people showing their journey. Twan, I saw her showing her journey. You can go back to her old videos and see where she was really, really big. And she showed different videos of what she was eating, the exercise she was doing. That's what you want to see. That's what I needed to see because I'm a visual. And that's what I wanted to show. I wanted somebody to be able to say, if she can do it, I can do it. Because I see her struggle. Period. And so for you to say that, very relatable. I think I found the answer. Yes, if you found the answer to your situation through my videos, that's gold. That's gold. Because, you might be able to look at it and say, okay, yeah, see, she needs to stop bringing them Tootsie Rolls in the house. That's what I see. Don't bring that food. That's what my aunt in Ohio tells me. Don't buy the chips. Don't buy the Tootsie Rolls. And I might have a moment. It might be a moment. We all knew when the Thanksgiving and Christmas time came, we all knew we were going to have moments, period. And that's okay. Yes, enjoy your date night. But let's not bury ourselves in it. Yes, yes. JC is in the building. So glad to have you in the building. Yes. Yes, putting groceries away, but listening. Yes. Okay, it's fine. I truly understand. Mathis says, it took a while to get here, not going back. Trust and believe. I do the work all the time. Not easy, but it is the best thing that has ever worked for me. That's good. And when you say you do the work, explain. Send me another message, Mathis. I do the work. What is that? I do the work. Let's see. Jay said, this is why we cannot compare in this journey. We do not know what everybody's chemistry is or I know that word. Comorbidities. I can't say it right. Weight loss is about fairness. It's all chemistry. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. 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 And so you don't want, you know, you don't want your mind to be mad at your body. Yeah, she said it. Absolutely. You don't want your mind to be upset with your body. Paul Amadeus Lane, so glad to have you in the building. So glad to have you. Listen, guys, if you want to connect with any of these channels, please type get low, one word, all lowercase, in the chat, and your channel will come up. Okay. Paul has lost at least 60 pounds, on the GLP-1. Oh, Sweet Life Squad. Okay, Carter Seed is in the building. Hey, hey, so glad to have you here. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. People are speaking. Yes, yes. L. Lewis says, hey to Coach Kimmy. Yes, mystery date night is so much fun. Got to keep the fun alive in the marriage. Getting dressed now and deciding the name and character I'll be tonight. Gotta go. Okay. Okay, L. Lewis. That's right, honey. Mathis says, I have changed it completely. I make better choices. I stick to them. I walk a lot. I do eat carbs once a day. I needed to stop the food noise and feel full and lose the desire to snack all night. Yes, so true. That's what I was saying. Kim J was talking about that. Like, that was part of my situation today. I did not have an appetite. Even when I tried to eat the protein bar for breakfast, I couldn't even eat it all because it just didn't taste the same. And when I came, I had an apple. I took an apple because I bought some apples for my snack. And then when I came home, subsequently, I was hungry and tired. And I opted to take a nap on the, on the sofa or the chase. And when I woke up, it was almost time for me to start this. I ate, like I said, I ate 2 chocolate chip cookies that was on the counter. It was a pack of cookies, and there was only 2 left. And then I ate a few chips, and my daughter took the bag of chips, thank God. And I was like, I gotta eat something. I gotta eat some food. But I haven't eaten all day. And like you said, Kim J, in your nightly live, that can make you tired and that can make you crave. Absolutely. Yes, Queen, it's not one size fit all. I often encourage people they should they should to serve they should do to serve them best and in moderation. For me, it's a lot. For me, it is too. For me, it is an absolutely lifelong journey. Absolutely. And it is a process. It is a process. Carter says, they always show up at the end of the journey talking about, I lost 60 pounds. When and how? Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, that's what I saw. I was like, I need to see your process. I absolutely do. Somebody speaking, and I'm not ashamed to show my downs. I'm not ashamed to show it because, like I said, somebody might have lost 80 pounds in 1 year. I've lost 80 pounds in 3.5 years. I still lost 80 pounds. Okay. I'm still down 80 pounds. The time is irrelevant to the non-scale victories and the knees feeling better. You know what I mean? It's irrelevant. So it's a process. It's an absolute process. People are still speaking. Kim J. Oh, Lisa says Kim J coming over for Zumba. Yes, Paul lost 60 pounds. So we want to be mindful of our language. To me, I want to be mindful of my language in this community. Okay. Um, the GLP-1 medication, it is a tool. It's a tool. Oh, and it's not a control mechanism. It's not a control mechanism. Okay. Our appetites will fluctuate. Okay. And if your hunger returns, it's not a failure. It's not a failure. Um, sometimes it is food noise, and sometimes it's an adjustment, and sometimes it's just being human. You know, I think, like I said, once we begin to make those healthier choices, and y'all have heard me say this before, once we begin to make those healthier choices, our body will accept it and it will begin to reject things that it no longer wants to tolerate. Y'all have heard me say this before when I did the pescatarian for about 5 months in 2024, and I literally stopped eating chicken. The only reason why I went back to meat per se, and I mostly eat chicken and turkey, and I eat seafood. I can't eat like regular fish. It's really weird. I'm allergic to regular fish, but I can eat seafood. But the only reason why I went back to it was because I was struggling for protein and I wasn't ready to become a full-on vegetarian. And when you eat a lot of shrimp, it causes your cholesterol to go up. So I had that issue. So I started incorporating turkey. I got smoked turkey back there now. I started incorporating turkey, and I I went back into chicken, but I have to be careful of what chicken I choose. I try to choose organic chicken breast because chicken, it just comes with, and I'm getting ready to say something that's not good. It just comes with a lot of mucus. That was one of the first things that I noticed when I stopped eating chicken, is that phlegm and mucus that's a lot of times in people's throat when they wake up, when you wake up, that disappeared. That disappeared. And so, you have to be mindful of that. So I try to choose, like I say, good organic stuff. And if you're wondering, yes, it is back. Okay. One of the biggest things we can do in the GLP-1 community is practice compassion for others. I did have, some notes here. A popular term, that people use is to give yourself grace. Why? Because you've been eating this way for a long time. Okay. So if it's really about a growth mindset, we have to give our bodies time to accept the change that our mind is trying to give us. Yeah, we have to. We have to give our bodies time, because your body will fight you. Your body will reject, it will crave. And to me, craving is a form of rejecting what I want to do differently. And so we have to give ourselves time and grace to let that change come, you know. And so that race is not a race at all. It just may be, you know, it is a process. Let me get over here to the chat, see if y'all saying anything else. People are speaking. Yes, some people are typing get low. Oh, Bellflower says, we're 80 plus in 3 years, twins. Yes, yes. Doses of Shani. I don't want to miss anybody. Doses of Shani says 80 pounds lost. That's what I say. 80 pounds lost is 80 pounds lost. Okay. It doesn't give me the freedom to eat what I want to eat, which is why I did that talk about self-sabotage and what it really is, and some of what it could really be about. But I'm used to rewarding myself with food, so I have to get out of that. And again, people are like, some people are saying, well, okay, you're gonna replace that with something else. Well, that's okay. If you want to replace rewarding yourself with food with shopping, that's okay. I mean, we all have things that we like to do. I'm not going to call them addictions, but we all have things that we like to do. I mean, nobody is perfect, So if we want to reward ourselves with, an item or some form of shopping rather than food, I think that's perfectly fine. I really do. I think. Yeah, Doses of Shani said, yeah, I noticed that too about the chicken. Yeah, that chicken, whatever they're feeding it. She is Tamika saying absolutely. Mia is in the building. Hey Mia, so glad to have you in the building. Yeah, we have some gents in the building today. And so, again, I just want us to be, mindful, around those words. I fell off, change that to, I'm still here. I just had a piece of cake. I'm still here. I was bad today. Well, no, you weren't bad. We don't want to shame slow progress. People are comparing themselves. What are we titling now? I'm a slow responder. You know, I'm a slow responder to the medication. We're classifying it. Let's not do that. Oh, let's not. I don't want to feel like I don't want to feel like I'm slow. I don't want to feel like I'm a slow responder. No. Listen, what happened to inclusion? Y'all know I'm an educator. What happened to inclusion? I'm responding to the medication, period. Okay. Okay. As we know, shame can increase our stress, okay? And our language influences our stress, period and point blank, okay? What is there a word around dieting that triggers you most? Anybody? Is there a word around dieting you can comment? Leave a comment that triggers you. Have you ever felt guilty eating on a GLP-1? Has anybody ever felt guilty? You know, you're on the medication, but you're still feeling guilty about what you're eating. Whoo, you know, mm. We just want to be more mindful. You know, we want to be present in this journey. We really do. I want to be present in the journey. I want to discover more of what I'm supposed to do and what I'm not supposed to do. Let's see. Beautiful. Yes, I'm definitely rewarding with clothes. And next will be the shoes. I know that's right. Nothing wrong with that. I heard Alonda talking about that. Alonda 180 talk how she went, you know, shopping. That's a real thing, and that's an emotional thing. You know, it's an emotional thing to change from wearing loose clothes. That's to fitting clothes. That's the only time that my weight really bothered me, you know. Well, not the only time, but that's one of the major times. It bothered me when I had to go into a restaurant and eat. My family knew, do not get a booth. It's just don't, whatever you do, don't get a booth. So it bothered me then, but it bothered me when I had to go shopping, you know, because I knew I was it was gonna be until they came out with all these other stores other than Catherine's and Lane Bryant. You know, it was gonna be something to find clothes, and that's when I had to face some realities about my size, and so having to change that is a real thing. That's not a replacement for a cupcake. That's a real thing. Because now you've got to decide, you know, you have to make yourself not buy a bigger size. You know, I'm currently in 2X, always, you know, been in 3, 4, 5X. And so now I'm at 2X, and some of my 2X's, you know, I'm like saying, am I really gonna buy an extra large? Am I really? You know, I'm comfortable with the 2X, but it's like it's a scary thought to think, oh, I'll be able to buy an extra large. Like what? You know, so those are real things, real issues. Okay, let's see. Because let's see. I'm gonna observe that about chicken and see if it builds mucus. For me, it definitely does. It definitely does. Hello to everyone in the chat. Oh, yes, that you didn't speak to. Uh, she's asking what kind of shoes, red bottoms. Let's see. Carter's Eat says, mm, Carter's Eat, I'm a slow responder, and I lost my prescription due to my deductible, and oh man, never been more depressed. My goodness, I'm sorry to hear that. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, and you on Zepbound. Were you on Zepbound or Mounjaro? Because you know, if you're on Mounjaro, you might be able to switch to Zepbound. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Yeah, Beautiful Color says, not much of a huge name brand person, yeah, but some new heels and dress flats. Yes, yes, yes. Mia says, I understand. I don't fit into most women's dress shoes, 12 sandals. I am pretty proud to wear women's sandals now after years of wearing men's. Wow. Yeah, see, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. She is Tamika. My eating low calorie and seeing others eat. Yes, yes. Yes, I saw that. You know, I really want to go over there. I'm gonna have to binge watch when you talk about that because that's kind of where I am right now. You know, with the with the low calories. I'm trying to do better because, like you said, it makes you want to snack. And I'm so close. I'm so close, y'all. I'm so close. Low Carb Queen says, yes, early in my journey, I have felt guilty about falling off, but not anymore. The process is just that, the process. It takes time, and all of us have unique timelines. Yes, 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 yes. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Uh, Mia says, exactly, Evelyn, my timeline has had pauses in it. Yes, I think many of us have had pauses. For real, for real. But I think some of those pauses have been our body just trying to recalibrate and say, look, you know, I don't like what you're doing right now. And I'm gonna hold on to what I got until I figure it out. It takes a time, it takes a minute for the body to adjust. Carzy, I saw your short tonight and my heart broke for you, sis. I don't know which one that was. Oh, Mia says she saw Carter's short. Oh, wow. Carter says, okay, Zep bound, and it's been 7 days. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. You've gone 7 days without your medicine. Yeah, yeah. That's a biggie. So, yeah, you were on Zep bound. That is a biggie. Unique timelines. Yes, that's a comfort zone. That is definitely a comfort zone. Let's see the way that Mia says, have you tried the company claimable to see if they can get your insurance to cover your Zep bound? Good information. Take a picture of this. Take a picture of this right here or a screenshot. Have you tried the company claimable to see if they can get your insurance to cover your Zep bound? Doses of Shawnee says, been in and out, so I didn't speak to everyone either. Hi, everyone. Getting off, heading in an area in the gym with not good service. I'll catch the end. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so, so much. Carter says, thank you. So I hope that this has been a gentle conversation about how we speak in the GLP-1 community and beyond. It's a journey, y'all. That's all it is a journey, and we're getting there. We're at, and the journey. We don't know how long it's going to last. I like what Mathis said. That was the key takeaway. One of the key takeaways tonight. Oh, thank you so much. Hey, Moonjaro Journey with Pam. So glad to have you in the building. That was one of the key takeaways for me tonight. He's no longer. He said, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight anymore." Uh, Mia says, "I do know there are a lot of compound companies that may be in your price range if you can swing that route." Okay, yeah. So just be mindful. We're gonna be gentle, and we just gonna get through the process. That's all I wanted to say to y'all. That's all. I'm going back up in the chat. It's a lot in the chat to see if I could find Matthew. I wanted to leave that up. But I appreciate y'all coming in. Thank you for being here. Those of you uh, in the bushes. Sometimes I'm watching in the bushes too. I appreciate y'all. And we're gonna continue on this journey. This is my closing from Mathis. Thank you for coming in. I think this was his first time coming into the channel. It's been a lifesaver for me. I will take it for life. I spent many years doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I now know that I need it forever. No more fighting without it. That's a great takeaway. That's a great takeaway. All right, guys. Oh yeah, and this one too. But I'm gonna go back to the other one where he said, I started binge watching your videos lately. I see the struggle, very relatable. That I think I found the answer finally. Thank you, Lord. That's it. That's it right there. If you know your channel and your channel goal, what you want to do, that worked for me. Love you guys. Low carb journey, low carb life with your low carb queen. And remember, every single day is a new beginning. When you wake up, you can start again.